In this video, we'll discuss another type of woman who is not suitable for building a healthy relationship. You've likely encountered this type at least once. She is the kind of woman who constantly strives for dominance in a relationship, always seeking to take the lead. Let's be clear from the start. Changing a woman with this trait is impossible. It's best to rid ourselves of that illusion immediately. A man in a relationship with such a woman often finds himself in a cycle of conflicts, arguments, misunderstandings, and emotional strain. At some point, he faces a choice. Either try to smooth things over, compromise, and yield, ultimately lowering his own significance, or stand his ground, which leads to further instability. This type of woman leaves a man no real choice. If he wants to maintain a relationship with her, he must constantly concede. Otherwise, she will behave destructively, causing the relationship to deteriorate. Sometimes a man might refuse to give in, playing conflict strategically. Reconciliation may happen in an hour, a day, or even a week. But this is not a healthy relationship dynamic. The truth is, a woman with this mindset has little to no long-term prospects for a happy personal life. Why? Because like any woman, she instinctively desires a strong man. To experience love in its fullest form, she must allow herself to be vulnerable, but instead she resists, creating obstacles and tension. Where does this behavior originate? It often stems from childhood experiences. Perhaps she grew up in a household with a dominant mother or an absent father. Maybe she endured a painful teenage romance that left lasting scars. However, the root cause doesn't matter. What's important is that she cannot be changed. The kind of men these women choose tend to be those who accommodate them easily. She dominates, he adjusts, and over time, he convinces himself that this is the only way to maintain the relationship. He believes that by conforming, he can finally achieve harmony. But this is a major misconception. I recently had a consultation with a man who shared a story about a friend in such a relationship. His friend complied with all his partner's demands, hoping to make things work. However, the reality is that when a man consistently yields, respect, attraction, and passion fade away. Demands increase, and the relationship eventually collapses. Before committing to a serious relationship or marriage, a man should not only observe how a woman behaves in everyday life, but also pay close attention to how she handles conflicts. A woman who is suitable for a long-term relationship plays the role of a diplomat, working toward resolution rather than confrontation. Conflicts are inevitable, but in a healthy relationship, both partners take turns compromising. There isn't always a clear right or wrong party. Sometimes both perspectives hold merit. The difference lies in whether the woman is capable of compromising. This particular type of woman, however, refuses to do so. She rarely experiences deep romantic attachment. The men she meets usually fall into two categories: those who immediately invest effort to win her over, who she quickly dominates and then loses interest in, or those who remain indifferent. With the latter, she finds herself drawn in, attempting to win them over, but her true nature eventually emerges, and the man, uninterested in her drama, simply walks away. At that point, her attachment deepens. She returns repeatedly, trying to invest in the relationship, showing her difficult character traits, then retreating again. I've seen this cycle many times in consultations. These women appear once or twice in a man's life, and when he finally cuts them off, they attempt to extract emotional energy from more compliant men, disrupting their lives in the process. That's why it's crucial to identify them early. Women who are suited for relationships naturally align with their partner's views, adapting and finding common ground. In contrast, a woman of this destructive type insists that her opinion is the only correct one. The best course of action? Block and remove her from your life. Some men, unfortunately, still fall into the trap of marrying these women, believing they can make it work. But in reality, such relationships bring nothing but disappointment and emotional exhaustion. No matter how much love and effort is invested, these women refuse to change. Even when deeply attached, they continue to impose their views, make reckless decisions, and later regret their actions. I've often heard stories where a man recalls the early years of a relationship saying, "Yes, we had conflicts, but we worked through them." However, this was only during the honeymoon phase when she was still in a weaker position. Once she gains control, the relationship turns into a battlefield. One revealing test is how she reacts to separation. A woman who is genuinely suited for a relationship will, after experiencing emotional turmoil, seek to reconcile with her partner. This is logical and expected. However, the type of woman we are discussing will hold her ground, endure the silence, and suppress her emotions. In the meantime, she will look elsewhere for emotional fulfillment, sometimes leading to undesirable outcomes. Who are these women in society? Often they are entitled and demanding, expecting men to cater to their every need without reciprocation. Alternatively, they may be highly career-driven, prioritizing independence and minimizing reliance on men, another sign of incompatibility in traditional relationships. Many of these women talk about equality, but in reality, their expectations remain the same. They still want men to provide, protect, and support them, yet they refuse to give anything in return. This false idea of equality is one of their defining traits. There is one particular red flag. When a woman in a weaker position tells a man, "You don't give me enough attention, you don't love me as much." If this occurs during a breakup, it's often just an excuse to shift blame. However, if she says it while still in a weaker position, it's a clear manipulation tactic, an attempt to control even when she lacks power. A woman who is truly relationship-oriented, when feeling insecure, will try to win her man over with kindness, care, and affection. But this type, she will fight back aggressively. If a man decides to stay with such a woman, let alone marry her, he risks falling into a toxic, codependent relationship. Arguments, emotional roller coasters, and constant conflict become the norm. Over time, he may even develop an unhealthy attachment to the drama, mistaking it for passion. But here's the harsh truth. These relationships never last. Once they end, the man finds it difficult to love again. The emotional toll is too great, and even healthy relationships seem dull in comparison. This is the price of prolonged involvement with a destructive partner. Men should be prepared for relentless emotional manipulation, jealousy, guilt-tripping, and power struggles. If at any moment she senses weakness, she will take full advantage of it. This is why the best strategy is to avoid these women altogether. So, what's the key takeaway? Even if a man starts from a position of strength in such a relationship, he will eventually be forced into a choice. Either the relationship collapses or he submits entirely. The best decision is to recognize these signs early and steer clear. That's all for today. See you in the next video.